Our sports segment. This is it for the night. Syracuse loses to North Carolina 27-10. But don't worry, our next broadcast comes on Monday at 7 o'clock. Syracuse versus Binghamton. That's men's basketball. So maybe something to look forward to if you're sick of seeing this football team play at 3-6 and 1-5 in the ACC. I wouldn't necessarily blame you. But don't worry, football back in action Saturday, November 8th at 3:30. That's SU taking on top 10 ranked Miami. That's from Hard Rock Stadium. Those are our two next broadcasts, our next broadcast and our next football broadcast here on WAER. But for tonight in Orange Overtime, that will do it. So some thank yous to hand out. Ryan Randoni, our wonderful producer. Nick Evans, our engineer, running the audio board, keeping us on track. Corey Miller on radio replay, cutting up all those highlights you just heard. And, of course, the entire WAER sports desk doing a fantastic job running our social media and getting everything up-to-date information and doing everything as best as they can. So that does it for Orange Overtime, but now we turn it over to the double overtime with Nate Cunningham and Andrew Delapiana. If you want to have your voice heard after this one, you can call in 315-443-2011. Talk to Nate, talk to Andrew. We know they're going to have their loaded opinions about this one, and you can too. So Nate, Andrew, how about it? I mean, Syracuse 17-point loss after a 4-point lead at the half. Just another tough way to grab a fifth straight loss this season.
I would say so, Josh. Happy Halloween, everybody, right? Well, wrong, because Syracuse just put up another dud, a milk dud on offense. They tried this new thing with Joe Filardi at quarterback, this fifth, sixth-string guy, plays lacrosse in the spring, true freshman, trotted him out there. Same old story, Nate. I mean, this experiment just fell flat on its face.
You know, Andrew, we sat downstairs and we were trying to watch this game and figure out what we were going to talk about. And as the game progressed, we had some ideas. We figured, we were going to talk about Filardi and starting the game and the offense, and the offensive line didn't look great, the defensive line, whatever, continue. As the game progressed, our minds just kind of got jumbled more and more, and I still don't, what do we talk about? That's how bad this was. What happened? And I don't mean that in a joke. What happened? I genuinely don't have an answer.
It's a genuinely good question, and maybe a better answer was UNC made Syracuse look that bad, and UNC, we know, is a bad football team, and Syracuse is just that bad. The defense, too, for Syracuse didn't show up. We'll get to all the numbers that UNC put up tonight and all the records and, season highs that they put up in tonight's game. Also be joined by our reporter, Gino Antamarino, who is inside the Dome. He'll be at Fran Brown's press conference as well to get us answers to these questions about Fran Brown and these QB options that we still have no idea what will be the future for Syracuse. That and a whole lot more coming up on the double overtime, which starts right now.
The game may be over, but our coverage on WAER is not. Here on the double overtime, we'll be breaking down all the highs.
Gordon claps. This time he gets it. Looks to the left corner of the end zone. 1v1 ball for Meeks. He went up there, and he got it. Touchdown, Syracuse.
Ford takes the snap, drops back, looking to the left, lofts it down the field, and gets it, catches it. Gain of 20, first down, Orange.
McCord in the gun, takes the snap, hands off Allen, and one-on-one with a UNLV defender. He breaks the tackle and finds the end zone. Absolute cinema in the Sin City.
And the lows.
Ford the snap, throws it near side, it's intercepted by Pittsburgh to the 10, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Panthers. Rasheem Biles with a pick six to the house. The snap, the hold, the kick is up, and it's good. Emmett Kenny is the hero. It's Syracuse. The Cardinal walk off the orange.
Delivering our hottest takes along the way.
When you have this many talented receivers, this deep of a group, someone has to be in single coverage.
It was Jackson Meeks.
They talked about it in Jackson Meeks in the second half, but in that sense, it was Trevor Pena. You leave Pena wide open, and you get him a great chance to make a great catch.
What did we just watch?
I don't know.
This is the third-ranked passing offense in the nation going into the game. I'm sorry, that team did not show up. They were left in the bye week. A lot of rust offensively to start this one off, and it never got better for the Orange.
Get your voice heard by calling in at 315-443-2011 or check out our YouTube at WAER Sports Talk. It's the Double Overtime, and it starts right now.
Well, thank God the month of October is over for
We
Syracuse
still got
football.
45 minutes. 45 minutes.
Oh, my God. Can they screw it up even more? Welcome into the double overtime. Nathaniel Cunningham, Andrew Del Piano with you, taking you up till 12:30 on this Friday night into Saturday morning. Syracuse football loses its fifth straight game, 27-10 against Bill Belichick in North Carolina. So many questions regarding the offense, regarding the quarterback in this one, and we want to hear your thoughts from tonight's game. Call in 315-443-2011. Again, that's 315-443-2011. Don't forget to interact with us on X at WAER Sports Talk as well. And I think that's really where we have to start, Nate, is that quarterback position. It has been a conversation for Syracuse the entire time that Steve Angeli has torn the Achilles, has been out these 5 games. We've seen Ricky Collins, Luke Carney, and now a new face into the mix today, Joe Filardi, the lacrosse player, walk-on football, all the way at the bottom of the depth chart, was the number 52 prospect in lacrosse heading into the spring this year. Hopefully make some big impact for Gary Gait this spring, but to put this true freshman at quarterback against the greatest defensive mind in football tonight in Bill Belichick, this was just an absolute room for disaster from the word go.
And I think you got to go back to the pre-week when Fran Brown was sitting here and he was saying the Ricky Collins experiment was over, right? Like that's what he was saying coming into this week. He said, listen, we gave Ricky a shot. We gave him a whole month. We gave him 4 games, and he went 0-4. Like, you have to open up that idea, but instead of going to the guy in Luke Carney who had maybe a couple of drives under his belt, he didn't throw the ball a whole ton. I get that. But this is a guy that had success in Texas, that was out of a high school quarterback, really good. You then decide today, presumably last night or early this morning, to start a guy that, again, was very successful in high school, but he's not here to play football.
No.
He's here to play lacrosse. He's here to be a defensive long pole. And you trust this guy to go throw the ball. Granted, against the worst team in the conference. But I'm just saying, like, the fact that this team and Fran Brown trusted him, it just didn't make sense.
It really didn't. 147 yards of offense for Syracuse tonight, and including a passing yardage of 39. 39 passing yards.
Should have had a little more. A couple drops, but we can talk about that later.
But we have a call coming in at the moment. Caller, you are on the line. Pat from Syracuse, what do you want to talk about from tonight?
Let's talk about Filardi.
Let's do it, Pat.
Yeah, Pat, let's go.
Why was he even in today?
So
that is a phenomenal question. We are still trying to work through.
It is a good question, but Pat, I will push back a little bit, right? I think Filardi didn't look terrible. He had a good pocket presence.
He couldn't even make a pass.
Sure, I agree with you. But I wouldn't inherently agree with, because Jonte Cook had a couple of drops, and there were a couple of really good passes, especially in the end zone, that looked good.
I disagree with you. He must have had a bad angle. The angle I was looking at, he couldn't make a single pass.
Yeah, no, for sure.
He literally 5 yards away from the receiver.
The one pass that he had, the dropped pass, that was just short to
was
on
Jonte
the near side,
on the far sideline.
On the far
where
side,
he was wide open.
Number 2. I think we just need to. Why did we switch to Filardi? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I really do. I think Ricky Collins probably would have given you a better shot downfield, but his accuracy has kind of been everywhere.
Pat, who would have you rather seen at quarterback tonight?
I'd rather watch Filardi play lacrosse, honestly.
That's a great answer,
yeah.
Pat, really appreciate the call.
I would rather see Collins at quarterback.
Collins, I think that's a reasonable answer.
Yeah.
Pat, we appreciate your call, and I think it's important too that we find that distinction about why Ricky Collins was replaced and Filardi was put in, because I think about when we have Syracuse in terms of the options of quarterback, whether it's Rich Beelan or Jakari Williams, of why these other guys weren't given a chance, and Filardi was given a shot. Fran Brown has done a great job of hiding his cards this entire
He's done an
season
excellent job
and has
at it.
not been very open about what quarterback he's going to next. He's always said, Ricky's my guy. Ricky's my guy. I really trust Ricky. And then it feels like it kind of came out of nowhere this week that Ricky wasn't the guy all of a sudden, and the experiment just flat out failed. It flat out failed.
Well, I think what's interesting, too, is that if you were watching on the broadcast and understand, on Halloween night watching at home, hopefully you were listening here on WAER. But if you weren't and you were watching it at home, you'll know that Fran Brown said that he thinks Joe throws the best ball in the entire quarterback
ridiculous.
room.
He said that to Paul Carcaterra, but after going in the locker room, he came out of the break with that sideline hit. And me and you were looking at each other like, this is the best guy with the arm talent in the quarterback room.
But it justifies...
He completed 4 passes in the game.
But it justifies why you don't go to Ricky, right? What has been the premier criticism of Ricky Collins this season?
He's inaccurate, I guess, but...
So he's got the arm strength, but the arm strength doesn't matter if I'm going to throw a 50-yard bomb and it's to the middle of nowhere, right? Like, that was the problem with Ricky. And then you saw with a couple of drives of Luke Carney, how many passes
they don't
does he
trust
attempt?
him. They don't trust him at all. They don't trust him to throw the football at all.
At least put in the QB that your coach trusts, and I put that in air quotes if you're watching us over on YouTube. But, like, this is the guy that Fran Brown trusts to throw the football, so put that guy in the game. I'm not saying it worked out. I'm not saying it's an experiment going forward, but you have a guy that we're under the 4 games. He can play, get this experience, and then next year you have Angeli coming back off an injury. You have Collins if he stays, and if Collins decides to go in the portal, which I think everybody in Syracuse is considering a real possibility, then you have a backup in Filardi who has experience, who has developed, and is able to take the red shirt and still has 4 years. It creates a pipeline. I think this is Fran Brown thinking about the future, which isn't great.
I mean,
now,
all you can do right now is think about Steve Angeli coming back for next year.
Yeah.
I mean, this season is an absolute wash. The first completion for Velarde came with 6:12 remaining in the second quarter.
It was a dot, though.
No, it was not. He completely short-armed him. It was in a triple coverage.
But that it takes a lot of guts to throw that ball.
Oh, my goodness.
It's straight up the middle.
The guy had nothing else to lose in the game, Nate.
But again, like, if you can't sit here and say if Ricky Collins throws that ball's not intercepted.
Yeah, that's fair to say, but I think Ricky Collins also has more than 4 completions.
100% agree.
That
100%
first drive, they went 3 plays, -5 yards, and you're putting your head in your hands and you're thinking, "Oh my goodness, here we go again."
Well, so then this brings me back to another question of, like, remember when Fran said, "Oh, hey, Ricky doesn't know the playbook and neither does Luke." This is your 6th stringer.
Does anyone know the playbook?
Does he have? He's got to have 3 plays, maybe, that he's got available. Maybe.
Do you think he even knew he was going to be playing at all this? You think he's sitting in the back of that quarterback meeting room thinking, "Hey, I should probably be taking this stuff down just in case."
No.
I have I mean,
no. There's this guy was probably focused on lacrosse season.
I mean,
because that's where he's going to play an impact.
He's got a long pole in his hands during the quarterback meeting. That's how ready this guy is to get on the turf to play for Gary Gate. Not start an ACC game against Bill Belichick.
Yeah. This was the wrong timing. But at the same time, when you look forward, like our host for today's game, Josh Richardson, made a point, like, none of the rest of these games are timed to decide to throw Filardi out there. You can against the number 10 team in the country. They are going to destroy him.
They're going to eat him alive.
And then Notre Dame is going to pick up the rest of whatever is left of him. And then you have a rivalry game where Boston College will march into the Dome, and they'll probably put up a 40-piece. I don't think that's crazy.
Yeah. Does anyone have an answer for Syracuse football offensively? Please let us know if you do. Call in 315-443-2011. Nate Cunningham, Andrew Del Piano with you here on the Double Overtime, taking you up till 12:30. North Carolina takes down Syracuse 27-10. The Orange have lost 5 games in a row. And the confusion I think that comes in a lot with this is, okay, Velarde plays the first half, and he was terrible. What was it? He completed 1 pass out of 11 attempts.
1 for 11, yes.
And that was the 25-yard flea flicker. Then he goes 1 drive in the third quarter. Then here comes Luke Carney for what? 2 or 3 drives, and they put the guy back in. I mean, Theo from Solvay, do you have an answer on this question mark at all at quarterback? Theo, do we got you? All right, we'll wait just a moment for Theo. Theo, do I hear you a little bit? All right, not quite yet. We'll get to Theo from Solvay.
I'm sure he's got some thoughts.
I would agree. But I think this is an important conversation.
Not
Theo?
Vito.
Zito. We got you?
Yeah, we got you. You still here?
Yeah.
How are you? What you want to talk about? I know some hot takes after this game.
Just one observation. The entire team and coaching staff should be arrested for impersonating a Division I football program.
Wow.
You know, I hate to say that's not the craziest thing to say. It really isn't. Like, that's not. I've heard crazier things, especially after how this team performed. Like, there's no explanation as to why they acted, why they looked the way that they did.
Well, I think just there's no plan, right? There's no plan right now of what to do, because in this age of college football, right? You know, we've had this conversation multiple times about Ricky Collins, Steve Angeli, the battle for that job. It was kind of a fluke of what they told us it was going to be and how competitive that was going to be. And now to kind of look at this and take a step back and figure out that, you know, Ricky Collins was not supposed to be the guy here. This was supposed to be Steve Angeli kind of replicating the success that Kyle McCord had last season. And when you lose your starting quarterback, where do you really go anymore? Because you are looking to get your guy, and Fran Brown did. Steve Angeli led this team to a 3-run record after Clemson, and now you lost 5 straight going to November. You're really just doing circles offensively now because the whole situation has gone completely awry.
Yeah, it's just not looking the way that you would want it to look. And that's the harsh reality of the transfer portal, is that you get your guy and you think you got him for a year, and they just didn't.
Doug from Syracuse on the QB performance tonight. What do you got for us, Doug?
What's going on, guys? Tough watch from the Dome tonight. 39 passing yards. I was sitting there Googling on my phone, you know, what is the least amount of passing yards in NCAA history? And I didn't get a straight answer, but the stat that popped up was the least amount of yards in NCAA history was Syracuse versus Penn State, 1948. Syracuse a negative 100 total yards. I don't understand how we see a performance like that. I love Fran. 100? I love everything they've done, but 39 yards is completely unacceptable. I don't understand how that's even possible, guys.
I agree, Doug.
Yeah.
I don't even know how negative 100 total yards is even possible. Did you see if Syracuse won that game against Penn State? That must have got blown out, right?
Yeah, they pulled it out.
That's crazy. Negative 100.
The defense must have been spectacular. I mean, you made
no, they lost. They lost. But yeah, it said they had a negative 100 rushing yards and 60 passing. I don't know, but I just was laughing in my seat. Like, of course, we also have the worst offensive performance in history. Mm-hmm. I thought this would be up there, but we can't even top ourselves.
Yeah, great. That's a very good point. And I was looking through real quick, just trying to find the last time Syracuse struggled this much on the offensive side, and it was when Syracuse played Pitt, and they really didn't have a quarterback. They were running Dan Villari.
They won that game with Dan Villari running the football.
Give him credit. So,
Doug, do you think they should go back to that with Villari playing quarterback?
I mean, I don't know. I think that's like in pure desperation. I really don't understand why they threw that kid out there today. I mean, you have 3 other guys on scholarship. You're paying NIL money to probably all 3 of them. A lot to Ricky. Ricky's been bad, but he hasn't been that bad. I just don't see how you can do that to the rest of the team, to the fans that come out to the game. I mean, the students knew that something was up. They left at halftime. Yeah. Can't say that I totally blame them, although it does suck to see that too. I don't think you go back to a Wildcat offense, but I mean, this team is broken, guys. We're not seeing another win this season.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Doug. Appreciate your call calling in on this late night here, Halloween night going to Saturday morning. Best of luck for you as a fan the rest of the season, for us as well, watching this team hopefully pick up another win. But I think we can maybe go into the head of Velarde a little bit in terms of how he's feeling going into a game like this, right? I already mentioned, he's sitting in the back of the QB meeting room thinking, I ain't gonna worry about this stuff. I'm ready for lacrosse in the springtime. Then Fran Brown tells him, hey, you're going to start Friday night on Halloween against Bill Belichick and that North Carolina team. That sound good with you, kid? Okay, have fun. Like go into the mind of that 18-year-old right now.
The more and more you say that, the more and more it makes me think, like, Bill Belichick has had a really rough year in North Carolina.
More than rough.
They were 2-5 coming into the game. They had the worst offense and the worst defense in the conference. This makes me think Fran just did not know, like, truly how good Bill was. Like, and that's not a crazy thing. But, like, you are setting this guy out on an island. Because let's not forget, this is a guy that's won 8 Super Bowls, 6 as a head coach. This is a defensive-minded guy. As an 18-year-old, we know it personally. Watching
we're
Bill
both
Belichick's
Patriots fans.
guy.
Yeah,
like if you told me on 3 days' notice that I had to go play a Bill Belichick defense, I would ask to make sure there's an ambulance ready for when I leave, because I'm pretty sure I would not be able to walk out. Right? Like that's what I would think. Mm-hmm. So I can't imagine mentally as a QB having to, one, you haven't prepped.
Yeah, you got to learn the whole offense.
2, like, you've got to go against, I think, arguably the best defensive-minded coach ever in just the game of football. That's scary. That's scary to even think about. I'm at a loss for words just trying to comprehend that.
Yeah, because think about it, too, where, and we'll get Stanley from Solvay in this conversation into Stanley. Go ahead about who should have started for Syracuse tonight in this kind of whole Velarde experiment.
Hey, hi there, guys. I like your show a lot, and I've been watching SU football a long time. And I was so excited about last year, and it was such a great year. I just really called today. I have a question, and the question is, how do you go from a season like last year to being this bad? I mean, this could be the worst SU football team I've ever seen, and ever. And let me tell you, if you got the number one recruiter in college football, how do you just not even have a halfway decent backup quarterback or two? It just doesn't make sense. I feel really bad for Fran right now because it's terrible. The team's terrible, and I feel bad for him because I'm a big fan. But I do feel good for Belichick, and I got to tell you, because he's one of the greatest coaches. This might a lot of guys might not like. He's one of the greatest football coaches ever, and he coached the greatest quarterback ever, Brady. So I feel good for him, and he's a good guy, and he's digging out himself too, and he went to college to coach. So, but you just got to help me out with this team, and how do you go from last year to this if you got the number one recruiter in college football?
Yes, Stanley, it's 2 words, and it was actually someone that was in the Dome tonight, Kyle McCord. I don't think Syracuse appreciated that guy enough, because he literally.
I did. Yeah.
I hope Syracuse appreciated that guy carrying this team to 10 wins, getting Fran Brown a massive boost of confidence after 1 year, and it's really, the quarterback is everything in this sport, and I think we're really seeing that firsthand this year, don't you think, Stanley?
Yeah, but their defense they can't tackle. It's not just the quarterback either.
Mm-hmm.
But and let me tell you something,
100%.
Kyle McCord, I've done that from the beginning. And I saw McNabb play, and he was a real good quarterback, but the greatest quarterback in college for Syracuse was Kyle McCord. No questions asked. He was the best quarterback for college we ever had. Best. So, but again, I don't think our defense is that good either. So it's the whole team, really. So there's some good things in there, but how does it go and get this bad?
Stanley,
I just don't get it.
I think you make a lot of good points. I do have one quick question for you, though. As someone that I imagine watched this 2020 Syracuse football team that went 1-10, we weren't too tuned in at that time, but that was the Tommy DeVito era. This is To say this is a little, I understand how you could say this is worse, but I guess when you compare it to that 2020 team, like, what are your thoughts on how poor that year was to this year? Because Syracuse has still picked up a couple of wins, and there's some promise on the defense. Demetrius Samuel and Antoine Delorier look good. Like, I feel like there's some bright spots here. Then there really just wasn't.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. Well, I really don't remember much about the year, but you know what? You're actually kind of right. It's just devastating to me how they can be so good last year, and they started out pretty decent this year, and I was excited. And it's just like one of the guys said, there's no hope. I don't think we'll win another game.
Yeah, it's
and it's pretty. I think that's what it is. It's just a complete drop off. It's making me feel that they're the worst ever, you know?
I completely agree, Stanley. Really appreciate your call. I know you're an avid listener and caller in this show, and we really appreciate you taking some time as North Carolina takes down Syracuse 27-10. And Stanley brings up a good segue into our next talking point, the defense for Syracuse. Look, this was a Tar Heels team that really struggled offensively coming in, and they put up 425 total yards of offense in this one. We'll take a short break here on the Double Overtime and talk about that when we come back.
Pressure is ramping up on Congress to end the government shutdown. The federal health care marketplace is opening, food aid benefits are running out, and air traffic controllers are working without pay.
Settle your differences, get in a room and negotiate, but holding the travel system hostage should not be an option.
How the ongoing shutdown is hitting Americans from all sides on the next morning edition from NPR News.
Weekdays from 5 to 9 on 88.3 WAER.
News Hour from the BBC.
Understand what's happening.
With news.
What's going on?
Heat waves, cyclones, storms, floods.
Increasingly unpredictable weather events.
Interviews.
2024 is the hottest year on record.
This is an uncharted situation.
And analysis of the day's global events.
In the Middle East, it's very difficult to be shocked nowadays.
That's News Hour from the BBC.
Weekdays after morning edition at 9 on WAER, your local NPR station.
Elections take place in several states on Tuesday. For next year's elections, the Trump administration has begun asking states for private information about their voters. It's also put people in election oversight roles who have a history of making false claims about the 2020 presidential election. What having election deniers in power could mean for the midterms. Next time on 1A.
Weekdays from 10 to noon on 88.3 WAER.
Takes the snap. Pressure comes, fires over the middle. Caught in Syracuse's end. Ball is out. It's on the ground and picked up. The Orange have it with Anwar Sparrow down the sideline to the 35-30, 20-15 towards the end zone. Touchdown, Anwar Sparrow.
The scoop and score, the only real positive from this one. Syracuse falls to North Carolina. 27-10. They drop to 3-6 on the year, while the Tar Heels pick up their first ACC win all season. Alongside Andrew Delapiana, I'm Nathaniel Cunningham. We talked a lot about the offense and kind of the situational that happened in this game, and we want to kind of switch towards this defense, but before we do, we've got Jay from Baldwinsville on the line. Jay, I know you want to talk about these QBs. What's going on?
Yeah, guys, real quick. Here's the thing. The season is not salvageable, and here's the reason why, okay? At the start of the season, in SU's quarterback room, you had only one quarterback that's basically a Power 4 quarterback. He could play in the he could play in the SEC, he could play in the ACC, Big 10 or Big 12, and that was Angeli. Okay? Collins is not a Power 4 conference quarterback. In no way is Filardi, God bless the kid, and no way is Carney. Okay, if you look at the SU quarterback last year, what was his last name? Del Rio, kid that transferred to Marshall. He's playing at Marshall right now.
Yep.
Yeah. You look at that kid. He started at Florida. It didn't work out. Probably a little bit too strong of a conference. He came to Syracuse, never saw the field for any quality time at all. Okay, maybe a little bit too high for him. Now he slots himself. Now he's at Marshall. Okay, and he's doing well. Okay, a lower conference. Collins is not a Power 4 quarterback, okay? Neither is Carney. Neither is the kid tonight. My God, the kid should have a lacrosse stick in his hand. God bless him for even trying. But here's the situation. Now and again, I see what Fran's trying to do, trying to show hope because you've got all the NIL investors. They don't want to hear about with 3 games left that basically the season's over after all the money that they threw into this for this year. Okay, they're getting 0 on their ROI, on their return of investment,
Absolutely.
right? So the best thing that and Angeli, who's to say he's going to be ready next year? I don't know about an Achilles, but I don't think he's going to be ready for the start of the season next year. But so what Fran's got to do is he's got to pony up the money. He's got to get some suckers to put in a ton of money, and he's got to go hit the quarterback. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't think 2 of the 3 are going to be gone. Collins and Carney are going to be gone. I'm telling you right now, they're going to hit the portal. Filardi will stick around because football's a hobby for him. I mean, he's a 5-star lacrosse player, so he'll stick around. But really, it was kind of funny tonight to see the kid running around. I mean, he looked like he was 12 years old out there. God bless his heart.
I mean,
God
Jay,
bless him.
You make a lot of really good points there. We appreciate the call. I want to have a quick little throwback at you, though. Do you think this is kind of a result of the transfer portal in the way that college football is handed right now? Because there's that old additive saying that if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none, right? And so is that the fact that Syracuse goes out and they get their guy that they think is going to lead this team, and then he goes down and Syracuse didn't have a backup plan?
Well, but to be honest with you, the portal kind of saved them this year because they went out and got Collins early for about $1 million for this year.
I think the number was 700,000.
Yeah, for about $1 million. I think they got him for $1 million. Yeah. And then so what happens is that they got to check him out in the spring, and they said, Houston, we have a problem. This kid's got $1 million arm, but a 10-cent head. He can't process the game. So thank God for the portal because they were able to go out there and get Angeli again.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like I said, and I hate to say that about Collins, but to be honest with you, he's got $1 million arm, but he's got a 10-cent between the ears. He's immature. And he can't process the game fast enough.
Yeah.
So, that would be my reply to your question there. They thank God for the portal, and we got Angeli. Or this year I don't think we would have won a game.
Yeah, 100%, Jay. We really appreciate the call. If you also want to get your voice heard on our airwaves, make sure you call in at 315-443-2011. We've already had a plethora of people call in. They've got a lot of sound that they want to get on the air, and we'd love for you to be a part of that group. But Andrew, we've talked a lot about this quarterback situation, and rightfully so, but we also have to talk about the defense. North Carolina was atrocious before this game. This is a team that had the worst offense in the conference, the only squad in the conference to not average 300 yards per game. And what did they do today? Well, they put up over 400 yards of offense. Syracuse made North Carolina look good at point blank, period.
I'll give you a worse stat. UNC scored 21 points for an FBS team against an FBS team for the first time this season. They were the last FBS team to do that. There's 134 FBS teams in the country, and the Tar Heels took until week 10 of the college football season, and they put 27 up on the Orange. I mean, if that doesn't show you how bad this SU defense has been this season, I really don't know. Gio Lopez looked like, I don't even know who
he
out
looked
there.
like Kyle McCord.
He looked like prime Matt Stafford out there. I mean, he's a lefty, so he was, maybe a better Michael Penix, if you will.
Sure.
The 4 incompletions, carving up this defense against the other Power 4 teams this year. Lopez has been really bad. Only had 1 touchdown pass, 5 interceptions, went for 216 today, 2 scores, didn't take a single sack, didn't have an interception. This guy played basically flawless football because Syracuse's defense was just awful. It was awful.
Particularly against the run was really where it was bad, especially in the trenches, which was really the only, if you want to call it a bright spot for North Carolina, was their only half bright spot. Damon June was one of those players to watch.
Yeah,
it was him
tonight.
and Chip, the receiver. Those were the 2 guys you had to be worried about offensively. And June was our WAER player of the game for a reason. He had 101 yards on the ground and another 81 through the air. This is a guy that was just excellent at breaking through and bursting on the scene against the Syracuse defense. So We're going to sit here and keep breaking this down, but we also got John from Lafayette who wants to talk on this Syracuse defense. John, what do you got for us?
Hey, guys. Great to call in. Wow. They haven't won a game since late September. And I wanted to talk about the defense since you guys said that was the talking point you guys are going for. I actually want to go back to October 18th when we played against Pittsburgh. And I remember thinking to myself after the game, I thought our defense in that game was pretty good.
I agreed. Yeah.
I don't think that the final score reflected how good the defense really was in that game. You know, they were forcing a lot of false starts. They held Pittsburgh back in their territory for a lot of the game. But I didn't even know until I was watching the telecast on TV, and I didn't know until tonight that apparently they have the second worst rush defense in the entire league.
Yeah.
And it just sort of struck me as confusing, and I didn't know what had happened there.
Yeah, that's very fair, because in that Pitt game, to go back to that, it was really Ricky Collins. He had 3 interceptions in that game. Really put the defense in a lot of poor spots because the defense was consistently on the field, and Pitt had a short field about every single time and really cashed in. But you are right, though, because Syracuse averages allowing over 160 rushing yards per game, second worst in the ACC, allowing over 31 points per game. So they were really close to that average today for a UNC offense that's been pretty bad all season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, John, we really appreciate the call, and we really thank you for kind of bringing that insight and kind of bringing it back, because that was going to be a point I was going to make, Andrew, is that this defense really hasn't looked particularly bad despite what the numbers say, but you got to see this firsthand, and everybody here at WAER got to see it. I was pretty heated, especially on that touchdown in the fourth quarter, where North Carolina had a wide open pass to Ship on the far side in the corner of the end zone. And they were dropped back in like a press man cover one, where the strong safety was on the other side of the near side hash marks.
And just chasing Ship to the other side. I mean,
it made no sense. And I get it. You've been pummeled on the ground so far that game, right? This is the fourth quarter. You're trying to get something, make a big play. But the middle of the defense for Syracuse has been wide open all season long. On the sidelines, they've been great. And especially like on those little short routes kind of in the middle, those check downs or the out routes, they've done a pretty good job. But when it comes to the open field tackling is atrocious. Atrocious. So when you leave your players on islands, a half-decent quarterback that can make a half-decent throw is just going to nail one down there. We've got Michael from Manlius on the line as well. Michael, what you got for us here? You're going to compare this game to the last one.
Yeah, hi, guys. I'm going to compare this game, it's a stretch, but to Appalachian State versus Michigan, because in that game, Michael Hart had one big run, and in this game, Sparrow had the one big run for the Cuse. So just wanted to make the comparison, because after Appalachian State, I don't know if you remember, but the next opponent for Michigan was Oregon, and I kind of see a gauntlet coming with our next two opponents, and I wish our guys a lot of luck.
I would agree with that. Number 10 Miami, number 12 Notre Dame, both on the road. I mean, oh my goodness.
First, Michael, thanks for the call again as well. Everybody trying to call in and get their voice heard here on the Double Overtime. I think that's a great comparison too. You had the one play, and that was it. That's all you really can take from this game.
It's funny because when we saw that touchdown from Damon June and North Carolina went up 13-10, we said to each other, oh, this game's over.
Oh, yeah.
Because you were comfortable touch back on the offense a little bit. You were comfortable with how the offense was playing, kind of hanging around like, oh, okay, they got 10 points so far. Their best offense in the game was the defense, was the Anwar Sparrow touchdown.
They had 10 points, and 3 of them were from a field goal.
Exactly.
And 7 of them came from a defensive player.
Yes, the best offense today was the defense in that scoop and score, and that kind of summed up their whole offensive game. But like the defense, again, to go back to your point of the tackling, like it's been a problem all season long. And when that touchdown occurred, that was the big moment of the game where the Tar Heels, you think, oh, okay, they might run away with this because Syracuse can't score on offense. And then it finally was the big play to break through because think about, the end of that third quarter, too, Nate, where North Carolina was just running the ball down Syracuse's throats. They went on a 12-play drive, 80 yards. 10 of those plays were for runs. They had 4 plays over 10 yards on that drive, and I think all 4 of them came for June in that stretch as well. Yeah. And that's when you knew Syracuse just couldn't stop a nosebleed.
No.
And they were going to run commit the rest of the game, and then it was going to finally come back to bite them in the fourth quarter.
And it did. And I think that's the problem is that Syracuse tries to over-fix an issue, and then it ends up biting them in the behind, and so then they've got to try to readjust. And this is a team that has proven time and time again, when it comes to fixing things on the fly, they are just not good at making those mid-game adjustments. They can't make the changes that are necessary.
And that's what I'm surprised about, too, because even look at last year in this Elijah Robinson defense. It was pretty solid. It gave Kyle McCord a chance to win a lot of games, not trying to throw the ball 50, 60 times in a game. Same thing with Jeff Nixon running this offense. It kind of feels like throughout games they have a game plan going in, if you will, but once we get to the toe meat and the leather, nothing changes within the 60 minutes of action, and I think that's where fans are starting to get frustrated because, Fran Brown wasn't brought in as a game manager and a guy that can, the X's and O's and the tactical guy. Yeah. He was brought in because he can recruit really good guys, and if you can't bring in good talent and you can also struggle a little bit with the X's and O's, then it's just a double whammy, and you're losing both games at the same time.
Well, how does Syracuse find a way to win these games on the X's and O's? Maybe you guys listening have an idea. Make sure you give us a call at 315-443-2011. Andrew Delapiana, Nathaniel Cunningham here on the double overtime up until 12:30. We're breaking down what happened in this North Carolina win over Syracuse, 27-10. On that kind of point, in comparison to last year as well, there was only one game that Syracuse didn't have a chance at winning. And it was the game where Kyle McCord threw 5 interceptions. Game, Like, every other game, there was a chance. They were in it. The entirety of this game, it didn't feel like Syracuse had a chance. Even when they were up. Yeah. They were leading, and it was just, we were waiting for this thing.
They're just holding on for dear. You're like, oh, my God, when's it going to happen?
You're waiting for the water to spill. You're waiting for something to just break and turn. And then ultimately in the third quarter, that 72-yard run, and you're like, that's what broke the camel's back. Right? Like, that's what changed the game.
And to go back to your point about the missed tackling, too, how about Brahim Long just getting stiff-armed? I mean,
I have never.
And June barely put his left arm. He didn't even give him the full Heisman post. He literally, tapped him on the helmet and somehow got by him.
And Deuce Chestnut had a good chance on him, too.
Goodness.
Deuce Chestnut had him, at the line of scrimmage and missed him. And then Brahim Long, I'm pretty sure bear hugged him. And somehow he stayed up.
I mean, it's not Derrick Henry. He barely even got a piece of him.
I think I make that tackle.
I agree.
I'm a big guy.
You're an athletic guy.
I wouldn't go there, but I'm a big guy.
I would say you're athletic.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But yeah, I think that this is just Syracuse that is punishing themselves. The defense is getting so overworked. And that can bring it back to the offensive side. If the offense not giving them a chance to rest and reset. I mean, you look at the fact that North Carolina had the ball for 36 minutes, right? They controlled the time of possession, but still, there was just nothing that this defense
especially,
was doing.
Too, when it's run after run after run, and you just get so depleted as a defense. I know Tank Wilson, he's been a guy that has stepped up in the locker room, has made his voice heard about this team getting going on defense, but, hands on the hips inside the red zone, you can tell that this defensive line is just getting gashed because every single run it felt like that Lopez was operating out of the shotgun, he'd hand it off to June, and there'd be a gaping, the A gap or the B gap wasn't even wide open. It's just the middle of the line was like the Red Sea just parting.
And this goes back to the schematic thing we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. They average 5 yards per rush in this game.
Much. Yeah. 2 plays and a first down.
2 plays and a first down.
That's a lot. That's, I think, way too much. And I think that's, again, it goes back to what I was saying. You cannot bring down. How many plays today did you have whoever was lined up at safety run from 30 yards out for a blitz and do nothing? And, They ran to the line of scrimmage and just got stopped. They got halted.
Well, I think the deception, too, of the defense. I mean, we were talking about it, too, while watching the game. Bill Belichick and
Yes,
Steve Belichick
he does a good job.
Phenomenal job of disguising that blitz where the safety will come up to the line. He'll kind of be hanging off the left or right tackle. He'll drop back into coverage and, completely confuse Filardi in this game.
Especially for a young QB.
Of course. But for Lopez, this guy's been at South Alabama a couple of years. He's playing his first time in Power 4 football this year. He recognizes if that safety is kind of hanging out in no man's land, he's not a threat to blitz off the edge. He's just going to look him off and then have only 4 incompletions in the game. The defense is so tailored for these other teams right now on offense that it is so easy to pick out someone on defense and say, hey, I'm going to attack that guy and have a lot of success doing it.
Well, Syracuse certainly getting attacked a lot. We've got another caller, our 8th of the show so far. It's not even hit midnight. Bill from Oneida, you want to talk about this defense as well. What you got?
You're up. Hey, how you guys doing tonight?
Doing pretty well. Yourself?
I'm doing good. So, I know you guys are talking about the defense, and, they do struggle a little bit tackling and everything, but, one thing you need to talk about is, the offense is 3 and out almost every freaking series.
Yeah, 100%.
And, the defense tends to put their hands on their hips and say, what's going on here? We can't score. The defense can score, but the offense can't even move the ball. It's 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. I think the defense, is halfway decent, but, your offense is horrible. Come on. You put a guy in that's playing lacrosse and your quarterback. You've got your second guy and you've got your third guy sitting on the bench. And the third guy, Carney, didn't he win a couple of state championships in Texas?
Yeah, he won all four.
You haven't even
4.
given that guy a chance. The offensive line has been so horrible that you don't even give the guy a chance. What gives here?
No, Bill, we 100% agree, and we really appreciate you for the call as well. Again, our 8th caller of the show so far.
I love it.
There's a lot of people that have some voices, and we would love to keep talking about this defense.
But we got a special guest.
There's another voice that's got a lot to say, I'm sure, and that's our reporter, Gino Antamarino, who was at the game. He went to the press conference, got a lot of sound from Coach Fran Brown, so you won't want to go anywhere. Gino joins us in just a couple minutes.
Though I also understand the reasons you no longer want to be with me. I can see why you no longer want to be with me.
Craig Finn and the Band of Forgiveness join us for this week's Mountain Stage, along with Deb Talon, East Nash Grass, Nikki Bloom, and Tube Runner.
Hey, this is Craig Finn. Join us this week in live performance on Mountain Stage.
Sunday from noon to 2 on 88.3 FM WAER.
On the next Putumayo World Music Hour, we'll set sail for Martinique, Aruba, Haiti, Trinidad, and Jamaica. I'm Rosalie Howarth. Climb aboard as we go island hopping in the Caribbean on the next Putumayo World Music Hour.
Sunday night at 11 on WAER.
Recent federal funding cuts have hit WAER hard. How can your small business help? A WAER Bridge the Gap sponsorship lets you reach your ideal audience in a powerful, purposeful way. It's a different kind of sponsorship, affordable, impactful, and rooted in community. Be heard while supporting WAER's mission, public service through thoughtful content and local connection. Ready to stand with WAER? Learn more at waer.org/sponsorship.
Takes the shotgun snap. Plenty of time in the pocket. Now it collapses. He's dragged down from behind and stonewalled into the ground. Dragged down in his own 7-yard line.
Well, we heard a lot of that tonight. Joe Filardi being taken out in the backfield. Syracuse only puts up 10 points in a 27-10 setback against North Carolina. Welcome back into the double overtime here on WAER Syracuse, taking you up till 12:30, just almost midnight here on the East Coast. Nate Cunningham, Andrew Delpiano with you, and now we bring in our good friend, our reporter, Gino Antamarino, the G-Man, joining us after some time in the JMA Wireless Dome. All right, Gino, there's a whole lot to talk about in this ball game, but the first one we want to talk about, what the heck did Fran Brown say about this quarterback situation?
Well, it took Fran Brown 30 minutes before he came out and addressed the press, and I thought that was a little frustrating. You know, I get it's a bad loss. You want to talk to your guys, but at the end of the day, why keep people waiting? You got a job to do, and Fran Brown comes out and actually was in a pretty good mood, I would say. Comes out and says, "Hey, how's it going, guys? Hey, happy Halloween. Thanks for coming." Like, thanks for coming. This is our job. Like, it's not like we had a choice to be here.
Wait, sorry. We've got a lot to talk about. We've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
But this guy came out of the locker room and said, quote, "Thanks for coming."
Yep.
Oh,
I don't know if it was.
Now
I don't know if it was quote "Thanks for coming," but he came out. He dapped up a couple of the guys standing along the side. Dan Tortora being one of them. Hey, what's going on? Hey, happy Halloween. What's up, guys? How's it going?
If you're not watching our YouTube stream, my hand is on my forehead.
I'm surprised you're not about to take a walk around the room.
He said, "Hey, thanks. Hey, Bill Belichick. Hey, thanks for coming out. Have a safe trip back." I was like, "What is this? Like the end of a concert? Like what just happened?" Like this was single-handedly one of the worst games of football I have ever watched. And you're thanking Bill. I get it. Listen, legend of the game. But you come out and you thank him? Then you're just like...
He just dog-walked you.
After 39 passes. They had 30...
Did you know if UNC didn't, kneel it out the last couple of plays and kicked a field goal, UNC would have been the fifth consecutive game that Syracuse has given up 30 or more points. You know how many times that's happened in program history at Syracuse?
I'm going to say zero.
If UNC put up a field goal at the end of the game, which they could absolutely have done.
They were going for the tutty. They were going for the tutty.
They went on 4th and 13.
They wanted it.
Up by 17.
They wanted it. They really did.
But let's address the elephant in the room. What the heck is the quarterback situation moving forward?
There isn't one.
I will say, I got to say this. Fran Brown is the king of optics. He understands it's not everything that meets the eye. There are layers to this. And I think Fran Brown made it very clear that with Flaherty playing, he said the reason he got the start in this game is because he's impressed a ton in practice. And he has said, this is a lacrosse recruit coming in, walked onto the football team. And one of the questions was, you put a true freshman who's not even a football recruit on the field against one of the best defensive minds in all of football. I mean, what? And he was like, he earned it. He said Ricky Collins, his first time playing was against a tough team, and that was his first time playing. That was his justification. I think Fran Brown can use this, A, for publicity. Oh, look what Fran Brown did. He just threw out a lacrosse player against Bill Belichick.
Who's also a lacrosse guy, by the way. So
correct.
Maybe that works too.
Also, side note, Paul Carcaterra was down doing the
that's right. Yes.
Yeah. Also a lacrosse guy, Syracuse alum, played lacrosse. But I think at the end of the day, this is I don't want to say this is optics, but I mean, I do enjoy that Fran Brown has made it a point that if you earn it in practice, you will be rewarded. I like that. I think that is very... I think that's very applaudable. I think that if you are a coach and you are a recruiter, which Fran Brown is obviously both, he's one of the best recruiters in all of the country. If a player is saying, well, look, I might walk on to Syracuse, or I might be a guy that doesn't make the team flat out, or whatever the case is, and I can still earn a spot and make a name for myself,
It's not crazy.
Are we just simply going
I'm not saying that this is... I'm not justifying this. This was flat out embarrassing.
Of course.
Flat out embarrassing.
Saying
but
it nicely.
I will say Fran Brown is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. And I will say, Fran Brown, at times, it's evident he's still figuring some things out as a head coach. But I will say there are plenty of other times where Fran Brown there's more that's happening. It's very tough as journalists. We only get to see Saturday or Friday or one game a week. You're not in the practice, right? You're not watching what goes on in the locker room. You're not experiencing what's being said, right? I think that is something that you have to keep in mind. There is a lot that goes on behind the scenes. Our Griffin Marcy, he was down on the sidelines for today's game. Who's actually in studio right now. He caught up with Steve Angeli, Kyle McCord, who was in the building, and he said, "Tell me, what about this Long Island kid?" And they were both saying he's got to settle in, but he's good. He's good. You got to give him some time. But
Fran said the same thing out of the locker room. He was like, "This is the guy that's got the best arm on the team."
He also said that about Ricky Collins, and I don't think I've seen him overshoot a receiver. He has underthrown every receiver I've ever seen in my life.
Well, that's fair, but I was trying to support your argument. So
yes.
I guess I'll.
No, I mean, I will say, but I did pose it to Twitter. I said, would you rather have Ricky Collins throw 160 yards in a game with 2 interceptions or a Joe Filardi performance of a couple pass completions and no picks? I got 81 votes on this poll.
Wow.
Over 60% said, give me Ricky. And this was the same people that said, get Ricky out of town. And Fran Brown even said that in the postgame presser. He said, you guys wanted to see another quarterback. You guys have been demanding it. Where's the next guy? Where's Carney? Where's this? Where's that? And I finally give it to you, and now you're questioning why I'm going away from Ricky.
Oh, he's so good.
And then the other option,
so
40%
good.
on the poll said completions are overrated. That's what I put as...
This guy, he is very PR trained, I feel.
Yes.
And
I think he's optics. I think he's very much, in a world of social media, in a world of clicks, Fran Brown is the king at getting the Block S logo out there. And I think you gotta at least give him that.
The problem I have with all that, though, is you can say we don't see the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, but at the end of the day, what you put on the field on Friday and Saturday is the product you want your program to put out, and you cannot, as a head coach, sit back and look at this and say, "Hey, I'm proud of the product I put on the field today because he looked good in practice."
But is he saying he's proud, or is he saying, I wouldn't sit here and say that he said at least based on what we're hearing, that he's proud of it. That he's doing...
Guys, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? This season's over. This season is over. I mean, they could put me under center. Seriously.
Well, we have Nate in the defensive backfield already, so...
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, Fran Brown knows that. He's not an idiot. Everybody in Syracuse knows that. This season is donezo.
Hey,
they knew that when they got mollywopped by those Duke Blue Devils. Fran Brown was scratching his head and going...
He was pulling at the collar.
Yeah, I think there was something like, maybe Ricky Collins is not the guy. No, but I think that ever since that game, it's been terrible. It's been terrible football, game in and game out. And one of the first, when it was brought up about the quarterback situation, that was the first question. Fran Brown said, I love how you guys automatically go to the quarterback as if there's not 10 other guys on the field. He's like, and there's also a coordinator. There's also a head coach.
This guy is so good. It is unbelievable.
This is not at all how I think we imagine this conversation to go. But I think this is so unnecessary, right? Like this is a guy that's trying to build something. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to think about this as if this was me.
But what are you trying to build in college football?
But if this was me, if I'm an 18-year-old right now, I'm sitting at home, and I watch Syracuse just get mauled for the 5th straight week. But I hear a coach go out there and be like, listen, I had a player work his butt off in practice.
He protects his guys.
That's what I'm torn. Because I want to be like, what are we doing?
You're drinking the Kool-Aid.
But then at the same
You're
time...
drinking the Fran Brown Kool-Aid.
It's pretty tasty. The Kool-Aid is pretty tasty.
If I'm a 5-star, get me here right now. He's got a couple of recruits that are coming.
And Calvin Russell just sitting there waiting in the wings saying, hey, when's my
Fran
turn?
Brown did say after the Pitt game, he said, everyone worried about the recruits and people thinking, oh, they're not going to show up because of this losing streak. He said, don't worry. They are all going to come to Syracuse.
Well, I hope that is the case.
He declared that.
I hope that's the case because Syracuse just suffered its 5th straight loss in a 27-10 setback against North Carolina. Nate Cunningham, Andrew Del Piana, joined by our reporter Gino Antamarino, taking you up till 12:30 on to this Friday night, now into Saturday morning. We've hit the month of November. Thank
God.
Goodness, because this was a brutal month for this team to hopefully maybe turn a page in these final 3 games. But what were the other big talking points that Fran was asked about in this press conference that we can kind of address here in this conversation?
Yeah, I think it was very much just, the same kind of jargon we get every week. And I think there's only so much you can say. And I think that's, you hit the nail on the head earlier, Andrew, when you said what you put out there once a week is what you are choosing to go to. And I think there's only so much you can really say to defend what happened out there. I want to get into a little bit. Now, obviously, I didn't stay for the whole press conference because I had to leave and run through the rain and all.
It's still raining out?
It was sprinkling.
Windy?
I got stopped by several people in costumes. They're like, what are you? I was like, I'm a depressed journalist. Keep moving. And they were like, oh. They were pretty scared. I was like, I got to talk about Syracuse football.
My costume was watching Syracuse football for 3.5 hours.
They're like, yeah.
Side note, speaking of costumes, you did see that Fran Brown impersonator that was posted on the...
I did.
That was good post. But
that
anyways,
was probably the best thing of the night, probably.
It's the best imitation of a football with anything that we've seen.
How about Filardi's first pass completion was a flea flicker? I mean, how
into triple coverage? Yeah,
sure. It was a dart. It was a dart. It was a dart.
But I want to talk specifically about the screen passes for UNC because I thought that was
it's the same thing from every single offense. The last 5
we
games.
cannot tackle in the open.
I want to
field.
say this. What did you say?
We cannot tackle in the open. This is what we said earlier.
100%.
This is why I am back there playing linebacker, is because I think I could genuinely be successful in linebacker tackling people than some of these players. And that's a serious. I am a 6'5", 325-pound man. I deserve to be on the D line, but if you make me play outside linebacker, I can do it.
All right, I want to get Mike from Syracuse in on this conversation. Mike, we've been talking about quarterbacks a whole lot. What do you got?
Outside linebacker, I want to get Mike from Syracuse in on this conversation. Mike, we've been talking about quarterbacks a whole lot. What do you got? Outside linebacker, I want to get Mike from Houston in this conversation.
Mike, we got you.
Hello?
Yep,
hey,
there you
how
are,
you doing,
Mike. Go ahead.
Hello, how you doing? My name is Wayne Smith. I'm from Syracuse.
Yep, go ahead, Mike.
You're
on the double overtime.
Is this Wayne?
Yeah, how you doing?
Hey, Wayne, how are you?
How are you doing?
Good. I watched that game, especially the last inning. Yes, it is. And I watched the ending of the game. And I saw how he played. Nothing against Fran. He's a great quarterback. I like what he had, but I felt that how could he put a player in a cross player that never had that kind of pressure put on him?
It's the same question we've been asking ourselves all day. Like, how do you put a lacrosse guy out there?
Yeah, exactly. Especially when other players had to have that kind of, he didn't really have that. You could see him fold up like that, and it just didn't seem right. Like a high school. He looked like a high school player. It just looked like he just folded, didn't know what to do. He looked scared, and especially against Belichick.
Yeah,
it looked like a very.
It's funny. It's funny you bring that up because Fran Brown said in the post-game press conference, he said it was just too fast for him. It was just too fast for him.
So,
yeah, thanks for the call, Wayne. Really appreciate it. Did Filardi speak after the game or no?
I don't know. I didn't stay for the players. I wish I could have, but
but me and Mate were having this conversation about getting in the head of that 18-year-old and trying to prepare yourself for something like this. It kind of seemed impossible.
I mean, when he got stripped in the was it the third quarter, fourth quarter?
Oh, when that big rollout
From
on the
behind.
near
Yes,
sideline.
yes.
Yes.
He had all day to just throw that ball away, and he just didn't. And came off the field, and everyone was kind of tapping his head, but he was looking down at his feet. You can tell it was just. Sometimes it's good to throw someone into the fire. Luckily it's a blessing and a curse in football. You have a week to kind of reset, but also it's a week you got to sit there with that in the back of your mind and just be like, wow. Like, at least with basketball and other sports, it's a quick turnaround. You can't really think about it that much, but I guess the blessing is that you can kind of take this and really break down the film, really just say, okay, like I got to be better.
How much does he dwell on it though? And the reason I say that is because this is a conversation we had. Like, if you put me and you gave me, let's say he knew he was going to.
You're in
start
a lot
on.
of game
I
situations.
know, my goodness.
I like it.
But let's say he got the word on Wednesday. Fran comes up to him and he says, "Hey, you're going to start on Friday." So he got 2 days notice.
Sorry to cut you off. Fran Brown said that they decided on Filardi starting on Thursday.
Okay, so let's.
So yesterday.
Let's
Oh
do
my
that then.
goodness.
So yesterday,
That poor
you
kid.
find out you're going to start for Syracuse football. But not only are you going to start at 18 years old for Syracuse football, but you have to start, as you said, against the greatest defensive mind in football. I would be like, one, oh no. And then two,
Take that deep breath. Yeah.
and then I'd go, two, if this is terrible, this is not my fault. Like, if I walk at it, the comparison I said is like, make sure there's an ambulance on standby, and make sure that, like, whatever the result of this game
I'm
is,
faking an injury.
this isn't.
No, they already
this
got
isn't
fined
on
for
me.
that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
can't do that.
No, I would be like going and grab like water and like, God, jeez, I
the ankle. Oh,
tore
no.
my ACL. Yeah,
But
I'm
like,
done.
you can't, like, if that's me, I can't put all of that on me, that pressure, because I'm the sixth string guy. I'm here to go play for Gary Gate to win a national title.
Sure.
Like, and you're throwing me into the fire against probably the worst spot for a starting QB, because Bill Belichick has made his career on exploiting weaknesses.
Yeah,
So, like,
especially rookie quarterbacks too in the NFL.
Yeah,
Now,
like-
imagine that's an 18-year-old. I
don't know how much I would hang that over my head as like this is my fault. I'd be like, I need to be better for sure. But I'd be like, hey, it was the first one. This sucked. It's going to go on my record forever. But it also was a game where I'm betting with house money. Like, there's no way I can win.
I think to put in your mind, when you're around these high caliber athletes, and the reason they are so good is because most of them have that hyper sensitive competitiveness, right?
Yeah.
And I think that no matter what it is, right? Like, that's what makes these guys so good. It could be, I think I could compete in like who could eat it the fastest amount of Oreos.
Really?
Right? But like,
I'll take
but
you
like
up
to
on
them,
that.
yeah, but like they would make that a game.
They
Like,
hate losing. They hate
losing, and I think it doesn't matter what it is or what the circumstances are. You want to win, and I
Yeah.
think that's what separates these kind of athletes from everybody else. But not to go back to, I just want to make this point and then put this to bed.
Yeah.
The screen passes by UNC, we mentioned that the tackling in the open field is atrocious. Right. I actually think Syracuse's red zone defense is not terrible. I actually think that, for the amount of times they have stopped a touchdown and have given up 3 points, so be it. But times where, UNC was on the 1 and ended up just kicking a field goal. But UNC was not a team that utilized screen passes at all. 26 total passes heading into today at or behind the line of scrimmage. And UNC, that was their, I wouldn't say their bread and butter, but they went to that a lot in today's game. You want to talk about the 72-yard reception from Damon June. That's just screen pass, get some blocks up ahead, and just take off down the sideline.
Yeah, one more point before we let you go. I think we want to go back to that 72-yard touchdown in that third quarter. It felt like the life got sucked out of that building, and then the atmosphere completely dropped off. That place looked, empty by the start of the fourth quarter.
It was empty to start the game.
Really?
I took a picture. I posted it on Twitter. Make sure you tune in W8ER Sports Talk. Check out all of our stuff. But, I mean, it was an okay turnout. I will say it is incredible how loud that place gets with not a ton of people there.
It looked
it's just
empty.
and that's what, like, man, the Dome would be so cool.
Like, remember back in 2022 when they were a top 15 team?
Remember the NC State game in particular? Syracuse was, I think, 16th in the country.
It was sold out.
And it was
parents' weekend.
I mean, football, basketball. I was talking to Anish Shroff, who was calling the game for ESPN and
AER alum. Yep.
And he was saying, he was just reminiscing. He was hosting the 2003 National Championship for basketball here at AER. And this was when AER was in Newhouse. And he said, I just remember, taking off the headset, going downstairs and running out with my buddies to Marshall Street. And he said it was 40 degrees and it was the craziest time. And like, man, wouldn't that be nice to get just a sliver of that? Like, just a sliver.
So Syracuse lacrosse winning the ACC tournament, does that count? No?
We care about lacrosse. I fear the rest of the general population is not as big on it as
I think there's a lot of niche fans with lacrosse,
Correct.
which is really cool. Mm-hmm. But like that overall like community sense with football, basketball, I mean, that's just even in today's game, like, you can tell the support there for the football team is very evident. I mean, it's there. And I think Fran Brown knows that, and I hope the players see that through the losses and through this down period. I really hope they can see that there is a lot of support and a lot of even more potential support for this football team if they can get on the right track. And, the rest of the season, I don't want to say it is what it is, but you got to get through this year. And people saying Ricky Collins this, Joe Schmo that. Like, I want people to finally say, and I said this after the Georgia Tech game, Ricky Collins is not great, but you do not have any other option. And people were saying, I want Carney, I want this, I want that. Well, now you get him, and now you're still not satisfied. And Fran Brown does not trust in Carney's arm down the field. Ricky Collins has proven time and time again that he is not the guy. You have a lacrosse guy step in. I don't know where Jakari Williams is. I don't know why he's not playing, former 4-star. But at the end of the day, I think you just got to chalk this one up. You let this season just take its toll, right? You move on, and you focus on next season, bringing in the recruits. And I think Syracuse next year hopefully is going to be pretty solid. But again, the question remains, what are you going to do with the quarterback situation? Because Steve Angeli, a torn Achilles, is he going to be back for the start of the season?
I mean, he's got to be. You're talking about an 11th-month recovery. Most people...
It's going to be. I think that's maybe a discussion for another day. Unfortunately,
sure. Absolutely.
No longer any more time with Gino Antamarino. Thanks so much for joining us, my friend.
Great to be here. Great to get this off my chest.
Oh, of course.
This is therapeutic. I love this.
It is. When we come back on the double overtime after our last break, we'll preview the Miami game next weekend. Our expectations about that one game, and you'll hear our final words from Nate and I after one final break here on the double overtime.
There is a one-stop listen for everything Syracuse athletics.
Syracuse men's lacrosse had arguably maybe Gary Gates' best weekend ever as head coach.
The Ostrom Avenue podcast provides unique opinions plus exciting interviews from industry experts.
The voice of Syracuse men's lacrosse and Syracuse women's basketball as well. Tim Leonard, Javon Edmonds of Syracuse.com.
Check out weekly episodes and listen at WAER.org or wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks for listening. We hope you're enjoying this WAER sports broadcast. Our sports staff goes where the teams go, home and away, and prepare for days before each game broadcast. Our talk show and podcast hosts analyze games, pore over stats, and keep up on sports trends. These and many behind-the-scenes opportunities are made possible by listener donations. So if you're a fan or an alum, donate to keep our sports legacy strong at WAER.org and click donate.
Velarde takes the snap, looks to his right, under pressure, runs out to his left, along the near sideline. The ball's poked free. It's scooped up along the near sideline. It is ruled UNC ball. Melkart Abu Jaude poked it free. Smith Filbert recovers. It's Tar Heels football right around the SU 30.
North Carolina was a little everywhere, and Syracuse ultimately falls. 27-10 your final. Alongside Andrew Delapiana, I'm Nathaniel Cunningham. We've got 8 minutes left here on the double overtime, so we're going to quickly preview our next football game. That's Miami next week, the number 10 team in the nation, Andrew. This is a Hurricanes team that, especially because Syracuse has got to go on the road, it just does not look pretty.
I mean, Joe Filardi is going to start against number 10. I mean, what?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the next game, Miami, Notre Dame. You can just chalk those up as a lot. I mean, they don't. They don't stand a chance.
No, I think I think a chance would be
putting it nicely.
Yeah, that's probably the best thing that we can say. There's just nothing to look forward to, I think. And in this game in particular against UNC kind of sucks all the life
of course it
out
does.
of you if you're a Syracuse fan. But we're running up on the end of the double overtime. It's unfortunate. It's been a fun, almost an hour and a half the two of us have had. So the end of the show means that we need to get straight into our final word. Andrew, I will give you the pleasure of going first. What's your final word?
My final word is now this Boston College game at the end of the season, to end the regular season. It's no longer a guaranteed win for this Syracuse football team. Look, coming into tonight in the final stretch of the season, you look at these final 4 games and you say, where can you pick up wins to potentially, give yourself a little bit of confidence? And I said it was this North Carolina game tonight and this BC game in the final game of the regular season with, the gauntlet of Miami and Notre Dame sandwich in between on the road. That Eagles team is 1-7 coming into this weekend. Probably might be 1-10 coming into that final stretch of the regular season, and they might have Syracuse on the ropes and get their second win of the season to finish at 2-10. This Syracuse team is an absolute mess right now, right? At least Boston College, they somewhat know who their quarterback is, and they have a pretty solid coach in Bill O'Brien, who, he had a good year last year with Thomas Castellanos, but this year it's been a mess. But for Syracuse, they are in a much worse spot right now, and despite Boston College being by far the worst team on paper in the ACC, I really feel like the Orange, when they do have that winnable game, are just going to come out flat on their face and lose to the Eagles. And this football team is going to fall to 3-9 to end the regular season after a 10-3 year last year. And it was so promising because you start 3-1, and now you're going to lose 8 straight. And that's something frustrating for us and for Syracuse fans because of how much excitement there was building up to the season. But that BC game is no longer guaranteed anymore.
Well, your final word there kind of bleeds directly into mine. And you sit here and you say, Syracuse, they're a mess. They don't know what they're doing. My final word, well, it's actually just 3 words. What the heck? Like, that's all you can say. What was this game? The whole season we have had the idea, at some point we are going to get answers to questions. We still don't have them.
It's week 10.
And we actually have more questions than we do answers. We have this conversation about a quarterback every single week. It was Ricky Collins. Now is it going to be Joe Filardi? Is it going to be Jakari Williams soon? Like, are we going to see Luke Carney get more snaps? That's a question mark that we have. The defense, where are they going to go? Are they going to take a step up? Demetrius Samuel Jr. and Antoine Delorier are great. They're freshmen. They should probably consider going somewhere else because the rest of the defense is one word: feeble. The team cannot do anything. And so when you look throughout the squad, when you look throughout the 105 players that are on the Syracuse football roster, there isn't a bright spot. There isn't a positive. And today's loss just goes, what the heck is this team going to do moving forward?
I wouldn't say everyone's. I mean, Jack Stonehouse is having a phenomenal year.
Yeah.
That guy's getting a lot of good reps.
Let's shout out Jack Stonehouse. That guy is an All-American.
Averages over 49 yards per punt. That's the best in the ACC. He's getting a lot of work.
He's got 13 punts this season inside the 20.
Good for him.
And we're 9 games in. So I'd say that's pretty good.
He's getting a lot of game reps.
Exactly.
You know? And he's got a great mustache, too.
Oh, yeah.
He'd be a perfect guy to be for Halloween.
Yeah, he walks
But it
around.
seems like that time has passed now, so.
Yeah, maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
Put it in the back pocket.
Exactly. He'll be on an NFL roster next year, though.
Absolutely.
Putting the ball inside the 20-yard line. So looking forward to seeing that.
Absolutely. You hear the music come on in the background. That means we've got just about 2.5 minutes to wrap up shop here on the Double Overtime. Make sure, though, you tune in to our next broadcast here on WAER. No, it is not next Saturday, November 8th, when the Syracuse football team travels to Miami. It's this Monday on November 3rd when Syracuse basketball season begins. They have their season opener against Binghamton. Game time is at 7. There's an hour-long McClurg remodeling countdown to tip-off, which starts at 6 p.m., and the Double Overtime will have you up until 11 that night. And then, obviously, the next football broadcast on that 8th next Saturday. It's a 3:30 kick, so that means 3 o'clock McClurg remodeling countdown to kickoff, and the Double Overtime up until 8 o'clock. We've got a bunch of thank yous to hand out to our producer, Jason Stalakis. He really had some thoughts on this game as well, helped make a rundown of what we're talking about a lot easier. Our engineer, Alex Burstein, pressing all the right buttons, making us sound good. Our reporter, Gino Antamarino, who had a lot to say and get off his chest, as well as our WAER sports desk, Nate Martin, Christian Doms, and Connor McGann. A whole bunch to talk about, a whole bunch of questions still left. It's 12:30, so we'll leave you to have a great night. Syracuse falls and loses its 5th straight game, 27-10, to North Carolina. Syracuse, have a good night.